Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. Welcome back to the Calm Mom Podcast. It's Michelle Grosser here. Thanks for being with us today. I'm excited for today's episode because I have been counting down the days to this one because doors to my signature program, Burnout Recovery Blueprint, are officially open, and I'm so excited to welcome in the spring cohort. This is a framework, guys, that I've used to help, hundreds now of high-achieving, overwhelmed women who are raising kids, just like you, feel and come back to that calm, centered, energized place where they really feel good and alive in their bodies again. So if you've been listening to this show for a while, or even if this is your first episode, I want you to know that if you're here at the Calm Mom Podcast, this program was made specifically for you. So let's kind of start with a gut check, right? Do any of these sound familiar to you? You wake up already tired, right? You feel like you're already behind on the day. Your body never got the memo that it's actually time to rest and restore. Maybe you wake up feeling overstimulated, reactive most of the day. Maybe like the smallest thing is sending you over the edge. Maybe you're stuck in a pattern of overthinking and overdoing and overfunctioning. And despite all of that, you still feel like it's not enough, right? You still feel like you're falling short. You get to the end of the day and you're like, man, I didn't stop today and I still feel like I got nothing done. Or maybe you know that you have a relationship with busyness and rest that isn't particularly healthy, right? You know you should rest, but your nervous system makes it really hard to do that, right? It makes it really hard for you to slow down. And then maybe you've tried all the things, right? Maybe you've tried like the therapy and the supplements and the mindset work, and maybe you have a stack of planners that you've tried to commit to, but no matter what you've tried, you still find yourself in this pattern of feeling anxious and burnt out and dysregulated. And if that is you, I just want you to know you're not the problem, right? It's not that you're too sensitive or too much or whatever it is. Like, it's just your nervous system actually doing its job. Your nervous system is just stuck in survival mode. So it doesn't matter how many productivity hacks or mindset shifts or, green smoothies that you try, because as long as your body is in survival mode, you're going to keep running this pattern. And that's really where Burnout Recovery Blueprint comes in. This program is different, you guys. We don't just throw like surface level solutions at burnout. We go so deep. We go into your nervous system, into your coping mechanisms for stress, into your stress responses, right? Into your somatic patterns so you can actually heal and feel better at the root. So what I want to do today is I want to walk you guys through the 7 steps inside of Burnout Recovery Blueprint. This is the framework. I want to show you exactly how it works. So if you have been considering joining the spring cohort of BRB, this will be super helpful because you'll kind of, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit and you'll get an idea on exactly what you'll learn inside of BRB. And then even if this is not the season for you to do BRB, if you want to do it in the fall or at a later time, or if you've already done it, I think this is going to be a really helpful episode because the framework still works, right? The framework still works and I want you to hear it and I want to walk you through it. So let's jump in because I think that a lot of this stuff, these are the missing pieces in everything that you've probably already tried. Okay. So let's go through it. Step 1 of Burnout Recovery Blueprint is awareness of the mind-body connection. I see it over and over and over again. Most people have no idea what nervous system state they're operating in on a daily basis at any given moment. Most of us are completely blind and oblivious to what's going on in our nervous system as we go throughout our days, right? Like we might know that we feel anxious or overwhelmed or disconnected or kind of like shut down, but we don't really know what's going on the inside, right? What's causing that? And here's the truth, you guys. Before we can start healing, we have to understand where we're at, right? Before we know where we're going, we have to know where we're starting from. Where are we at? And this is what step 1 of BRB is all about, awareness. Because most people have no idea what state their nervous system is in. And your nervous system dictates how you feel and how you function every day, right? The way your body responds to stress. It might be happening subconsciously. So you're left feeling anxious, overwhelmed, even numb without understanding why. So in step 1 of BRB, I teach you guys how to know what state of the nervous system you're operating in any given moment. So you're going to learn the basics of polyvagal theory in a way that actually makes sense, how your nervous system responds to stress, how your nervous system shifts into these different states, and then how to start recognizing your own somatic cues of dysregulation, right? What does it look like for you? What happens in your body? What do you start to think? What do you start to say, right? What kind of like mood are you in when you're in these different states? So you can know this on a really personalized level as it relates to you. And guys, that just builds awareness. First and most essential key to change always, right? We cannot intervene in a world that we cannot see. I say that all the time because it's so true. Until we have an awareness, until we realize what's going on, we can't do anything about it. Okay. So you're finally, after this step, you're finally going to be able to name what's happening in your body. And then most importantly, that's going to tell you what to do about it. You're going to be like, okay, I'm in my sympathetic nervous system. I know this is what it looks like for me when I'm in fight or flight. And I have a plan. This is what I do when I'm in this state to help me shift back to baseline stress level, to help me shift back to that homeostasis, that place where I feel just calm and collected and grounded and present and centered and regulated. Once you identify your nervous system state, you can do that. You can shift it. So this step is vital, all about awareness, and it gives you the power to take control over your reactions. And that's ultimately the foundation for healing burnout. So that's step 1 is awareness of the mind-body connection. And then we go into step 2, which is completing the stress cycle in your body, right? Most of us, again, I'm talking like humanity at large this day and age, think that stress is a mental problem or an emotional problem or, I don't know, a planning problem, right? We think it's something that we just like think or feel, but stress goes so much deeper than that. Stress is actually a physiological response. It's something that happens in your body. When you experience stress, it's not just like, oh, I feel like I have too much to do and not enough time. No, there are things that are happening in your body, right? Hormones are being released when you're stressed. Chemicals are being released. Your heart rate changes. Your digestion changes. Your blood pressure changes. The temperature of your body can change. It changes your thinking. Yes, absolutely. So that physiological response that started when we experience stress needs to be completed, right? The stress cycle must complete in order for our body to be able to come back to that state of calm. And if we don't know how to complete the stress cycle in our body, right? We feel stress and then what do we do about it? We usually just stay stuck there because we don't know what to do. But what if you had tools and knew exactly how to complete that stress cycle, right? We come up into stress, but then we know what to do to come back down to baseline level. If we don't complete that cycle, you guys, what happens? The stress stays in your body and it gets stuck there and it manifests in all of these different symptoms you're probably experiencing. anxiety, fatigue, chronic muscle tension, sleep issues, gut issues. Your skin looks different. Your hair feels different. Racing thoughts, always busy. That's what happens when stress stays stuck in our body. So in step 2, we really focus on the 4 different nervous system states, right? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And I'm going to teach you guys how to move between those states and come back to home, right? Come back to where you feel regulated. I'm going to teach you how to do that using the portals, the gateways to your nervous system, breath, right? Your muscles, touch, movement, sounds, all these different things, whatever gateway works best for your body. And you're going to learn how to downshift on purpose. Okay. And I know you guys know this. I talk about this all the time, but if you've ever tried to tell yourself to like, just chill out, just calm down, it's not actually a big deal. Or if someone else has told you that, right? It feels a little ragey because it's not how it works. We can't just tell ourselves to calm down. It would be amazing if that worked, right? Life would be so much easier. I would love when I'm feeling really anxious or overwhelmed to tell myself, Michelle, just chill out. You've got this. And for it to actually make me feel better, but it doesn't. So this is the step that's going to show you how to do it with somatic tools for real. And then we go into step 3. And step 3 is a really practical step when it comes to your day-to-day habits and routines. So step 3, I call it optimizing your burnout recovery. Because the truth, you guys, is that you can't heal burnout without looking at what your days look like, right? What do your habits look like? What do your routines look like? Because the truth is that your habits and your routines are either contributing to you feeling really regulated and present and calm and grounded, or they're contributing to your cycles of dysregulation. So on step 3, we focus on your biological rhythms, right? We look at your circadian rhythm. We look at your blood sugar levels. We look at how your body responds to different stressors. We take a look at your nutrition and your sleep, and are you moving your body? Because I don't care how many tools you have in your toolkit, right? To keep you feeling regulated. If you're not sleeping and you're not eating well and, you're doing all this stuff in the morning and at night, that's actually bringing more stress to your nervous system, you're not going to feel regulated. So we take a look at your habits that are probably are keeping you stuck in that sympathetic overdrive, the fight or flight. So like, are you skipping meals, right? What does your relationship with your phone look like, and all the notifications and your email and your late night scrolling? Maybe it's like, quote unquote, relaxing with a glass of wine, right? I'm going to teach you guys how to build true restoration into your life. Small shifts, right? Intentional movement, rest, play, supportive nutrition without it feeling overwhelming, like you're adding a bunch more stuff to your plate. And this is going to make a huge difference in how you feel. And then we move on to step 4. Step 4, I call it behaviors and beliefs, but guys, this is where it gets deep, because like slow down for a minute and just think about this. Your burnout did not happen overnight, right? Your burnout did not happen because you had a stressful week at work. Burnout comes from how you respond to stress. And so often, how you respond to stress is actually tied to your subconscious coping strategies that you've been using for months, years, maybe decades, right? Things like people pleasing or perfectionism or having to control things or avoiding things. All of those subconscious behaviors and beliefs impact how we respond to stress, how we go about our day-to-day, the things that we get caught up in, right? Saying yes to, and over time it compounds and it leads to burnout. So in step 4, we take a really honest look at these patterns that are keeping you stuck. And we don't do this from a place of like judgment, but it's really with a lot of compassion and curiosity. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm so grateful that I'm realizing how much of an impact, people pleasing and perfectionism or control or avoidance are having on the burnout that I'm experiencing. So we look at how those patterns started. We've looked at how they've actually helped you and served you, because there's a reason why we do all these things, right? They serve a purpose. But then we just look at like, hey, how can we get more intentional about setting parameters and boundaries around these coping mechanisms so we can just shift them so they actually serve us instead of sabotaging us. And I promise you, this is the module that makes most women be like, oh, right? Like, this is why I felt stuck for so long. And then when we can make those shifts, it's really powerful to see the compounded effect and how it helps contribute to us feeling more regulated. And then we jump into step 5. And step 5, this is probably my favorite module because it's so enlightening to have a true understanding of it. And then second, it's just so freeing and it creates so much space in your body once you learn how to do this that you automatically feel more regulated. And step 5 is emotional regulation. Because here's the thing. Your emotions, guys, your emotions that get suppressed or ignored, they don't just like dissipate into the ether, right? If you're super upset about something or really angry about something or frustrated or annoyed or sad or grieving or whatever, and you don't address that, you just suppress it or ignore it or avoid it, that doesn't just go away. It actually becomes stored tension in your body. So whatever emotion it is, right? If it's grief or frustration or sadness or anger, those emotions need to be felt and processed and released in a safe and healthy way. Because if they're not, if we do what most of us do, right? Either we're not even aware of it or we don't know what to do with it. So we just repress it or suppress it or ignore it. Those stored emotions will show up as anxiety. They'll show up as digestive issues. They'll show up as autoimmune conditions. They'll show up as chronic fatigue, right? They'll show up as muscle tightness and aches and pains and insomnia and all these different things. So in this step, in step 5, we talk about how to safely release emotions from the body using somatic techniques, right? How can you use body scans and movement and breath work and have practical tools and strategies to release these emotions from your body? I'm going to teach you guys how to create a sense of safety while feeling this stuff, because it's not like fun to feel anger, but once you learn how to do it, it is so freeing and so powerful. And I'm going to teach you how to discharge those big emotions, discharge anger, discharge sadness, discharge grief or fear without getting stuck in it, right? And I'm not talking about like, I don't know, being emotional or being dramatic. I'm talking about learning how to create a body that no longer needs to carry what it was never meant to hold. So this step really is going to help you release emotional blocks, reduce physical tension, and start creating that body that feels really calm and safe and light and regulated. And then in step 6, we talk all about boundaries. Boundaries. We have to protect all this goodness you guys are creating, right? So boundaries. I think that when it comes to boundaries, one of the ways that we can tell if we have boundaries that need some tweaking and enforcing is if we've noticed that we've started to feel resentful lately. So I notice when I'm starting to be resentful about like cleaning my house or doing the laundry or doing the groceries, or resentful because my kids aren't picking up after themselves, or resentful because my husband's, I don't know what it is, right? When I just notice resentment towards my job, resentment towards my coworker, like when resentment starts to simmer beneath the surface, you guys, we feel like we're doing too much. We're not getting enough help. It's probably a boundary issue, right? And I don't just mean like saying no more often. I mean enforcing the boundaries that you set, having a framework to do that, right? Healing the nervous system patterns that make setting boundaries and holding boundaries feel really uncomfortable and unsafe in the first place. So this one's really practical also. We work through different scripts I have for you guys for setting boundaries, somatic tools to help you set and hold boundaries. I walk you through my 4 categories of boundaries that every human being needs to have in place in order to be healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and have a regulated nervous system. And then I give you really practical ways to create and hold boundaries with the people around you, and then mostly, ultimately, with yourself. And then finally, that leads us to step 7. Step 7 is the last step of Burnout Recovery Blueprint. Here's where it all comes together. We talk about mastering your mindset. Okay, so you're at this point, you know how to regulate your body. You have all of these tools that work to shift you in and out of different nervous system states. You've dealt with how you manage stress and respond and cope to stress. You have these great new morning and evening routines, right? You've healed your stress patterns. You've got really awesome boundaries in place. You're regulating your emotions. You find that you are not snapping nearly as often as you used to, right? You have time to respond instead of react. You're feeling more energized. Now what? Now we start aligning your beliefs and your identity with that calm, grounded woman you're becoming. And I have different frameworks that we work through to rewire limiting beliefs and really integrate your new nervous system patterns into how you think and act and parent and just show up in the world. Because the goal here isn't really like less stress, right? It's not like you can just go through life and eliminate all stress. You can certainly eliminate some, but life's going to keep on lifing, right? We're just going to experience stress. That's part of life. But you're going to learn how to manage it better and how to increase your bandwidth for stress so you can just hold more life without it sending you into this spiral of nervous system dysregulation. And when you can do that, you guys, oh man, it's a life that just feels so vibrant and so rich and so aligned to who you really are. And it makes the world of difference. And that's what I love so much about Burnout Recovery Blueprint. Like, I have poured my heart and soul into creating this for you guys. It's not a surface level self-care checklist, right? It's not a mindset only coaching program. It's not just journaling or resting or taking supplements, although we do all of those things. It is a comprehensive, science-backed, nervous system-based path that will help you feel like yourself again. So you can stop operating from fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, from survival mode, from go, 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 frantic, urgent busyness, right? And start living with intentionality and peace and presence. And that, my friends, is where we want to be. So inside of BRB, let me just take like 2 minutes and give you a feel for what you get inside. And then there's a link in the show notes so you guys can click it and then read all about the program. And there's testimonials and all the details are there. But my favorite part of the program is we are going to meet together once a week for a live coaching call. So every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to jump on a Zoom together and I'm going to coach you guys live. There's going to be a chance for Q&As. I'm going to walk you through somatic practices. We do all kinds of workshops together. So some weeks it'll be, let's say we do an eliminating overwhelm workshop where I literally walk you through my weekly planning process so you don't feel overwhelmed and have a plan for the week ahead of time. I have a workbook that goes with it. We do it together in real time. Another workshop we do is a limiting beliefs workshop. We do an inner critic workshop. All these different times that we get together where I can coach you live and we go through real stuff together in real time. Inside of BRB, you also get a full, what I'm calling regulation toolkit, somatic practices library. That right now it has over 40 different resources in there, and I'm continuing to add to it. There are meditations, there's guided breathwork sessions, body scans, so many different somatic tools, most of them taking about, 90 seconds, a minute and a half, that will help shift the state of your nervous system. So I have little videos in there and then instructions for different nervous system tools like movement, sound, touch, breath, all these different things. So if you're feeling anxious and you need something to help you downregulate, you just go in there and click play, right? And you do the exercise and in a couple minutes, you're feeling so much better. Same thing for if you're feeling edgy, irritable, tired, angry. In the morning, if you need something to energize you and set your intention for the day. In the evening, if you need a meditation to help you fall asleep. If you're feeling overwhelmed, like whatever you're experiencing, I've got you. And there is something in that regulation toolkit that you can go in, hit play on, and you'll feel so much better. And then there's a curriculum that's in there. I guess that's the first part, right? These 7 steps are in a curriculum, and the curriculum is pre-recorded, and you guys can listen to it on your own time. So you can listen to it kind of like you listen to this podcast if you want to. You could listen to it, in the pickup line. You could listen to it while you're on a walk. You could listen to it while you're making dinner, or you can sit down and, actually listen and watch. And then there's a workbook that goes along with each step. So you can take notes. Everything is there written. If you're a visual learner, right? If you like to read it while you listen or come back to it or highlight or take notes, I've created both a digital and a PDF workbook for you guys. So that's awesome with the curriculum. And then it's community, right? Don't underestimate the power of surrounding yourself with other brilliant, high-achieving women who are raising kids, who are feeling overwhelmed and anxious and exhausted and all the things, right? Who get it. And this is such a beautiful place where I see the women coming together and bouncing ideas off of each other and supporting each other and being like, hey, I've started doing this in my morning routine and it's made a huge difference. Or, hey, what do you guys find when if you wake up feeling anxious, or by 5 o'clock when it's time to make dinner, I just want to snap at everyone. I'm so overstimulated. Like, what works? And everyone's in there giving ideas and sharing. And there's just so much power in community. And then I'm jumping in there every single day. You could ask questions in that space. But it's been so awesome to see the women kind of come around each other in this space and really support each other, because we're all in this together, right? And then you guys will see, if you click the link to check it out, there's a VIP option also. So if you want to add one-on-one coaching sessions to your BRB experience and meet with me one-on-one every month inside of BRB, you can have the option to do that. And I think that's a really awesome way for you to get really personalized, individualized, targeted one-on-one coaching, and the benefit of being in the group and having the curriculum and then the live weekly calls and everything else. So if you feel like I've been talking to you, right? Maybe today, or maybe for weeks or months, maybe you're just tired of feeling tired, right? Tired of being dysregulated, reactive, anxious, just not like yourself. I just want to remind you that vibrant version of you that you remember, right? From maybe it was before kids, maybe it was a few years ago, maybe it was before it feels like things got so busy. She's still in there. She's still in there. And I want to invite you into this next round of Burnout Recovery Blueprint, because this is the work that will allow you to rediscover her, to allow her to emerge again. This is the work that will change your life. And I don't say that lightly. It sounds so trite. It sounds so, I don't know, makes me want to roll my eyes, right? But I've just seen it over and over and over. We actually just ended the winter cohort of BRB last week. And I heard the stories from the women in the last call, right? Women who are like, I can't even explain how different I feel, right? My parenting is different. My marriage is different. My confidence is different. I'm sleeping so much better. I'm just more regulated. There's more space. I feel more present and grounded, right? I've discovered self-compassion again for the first time in a long time. Like, it's so beautiful to hear the stories of the women who come through Burnout Recovery Blueprint. And the next cohort starts next week, you guys. We start on April 21st. The doors are open right now, but obviously we start next week, so registration is only going to be open for a short window. But go ahead. You can head over to michellegrosser.com/BRB or click the link in the show notes. Check it out. If it feels aligned for you, if it feels like what you've been looking for, if it feels like the missing piece and you're willing to take a risk on yourself, right? Are you willing to invest in yourself? Go ahead and grab your spot. Join us, register. We start next week, and I would just love to be your guide through this process, step by step, along with this amazing community of women cheering you on. I want to give you the right tools. That's really all this is, right? You have the ability to do this. I've seen women just like you do this. You just need to learn the tools. And then the coolest thing is that you get to turn around and teach it to your kids, right? Imagine if you had tools to teach your kids about emotional regulation and setting healthy boundaries, right? And coping with stress and completing the stress cycle in their own bodies and what to do when they feel anxiety or sadness or anger or, what have you. We get to be the parents who learn how to do this and then turn around and teach it to our kids, model it for our kids. Y'all, that is legacy work and it fires me up. All right. I thank you so much for listening through to the end. Always appreciate you guys. Love you so much. And for those of you who are going to take the jump and join me inside of the spring cohort of Burnout Recovery Blueprint, I can't wait to meet you. I'll see you guys soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up, and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.